Have you ever paused to think about what it really takes to get that jar of honey into your kitchen? Today, we're going on a journey, a really fascinating one, into the sweet, sticky world of honey production. We're going to uncover the whole process, step by step, from a buzzing hive to the jar on your shelf.
Seriously, how does that liquid gold make its way from thousands of tiny bees all the way to your toast? Well, it's an amazing process that's part ancient art, part clever modern science. So, let's find out.
We're going to break it all down into 5 key stages. First up, harvesting from the hive. Then we'll talk about clearing the bees, uncapping the honeycomb, the really cool centrifugal spin, and finally, purifying and packaging. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so our story starts right where you'd expect, inside the beehive. This is where the beekeeper steps in to collect what the bees have been working so hard on, those frames packed full of honey.
Now here's a really clever trick of the trade. Beekeepers use something called a honey super, or a thalat as it's known in Arabic. Think of it as a special box, a honey-only penthouse apartment that sits on top of the main hive. This keeps the honey storage completely separate from the brood area down below where the queen is laying eggs. It's a smart way to keep the honey super pure.
So the beekeeper has the honey-filled frames, which is great, but there's one small buzzing problem. The bees are still all over them. So the next critical step is to gently and safely convince them to leave.
And the goal here really is to get the bees off the comb without hurting them or causing a big panic in the colony. You've got to do it pretty efficiently so you can move on to the next stage of extraction.
So how do they actually do it? Well, for smaller, backyard-type setups, a special bee brush with really soft bristles is perfect. You just gently sweep the bees away. But when you're talking about huge commercial operations, say in the US and Canada, they need to be way faster. They'll often use a powerful air blower. It's basically a specialized leaf blower to clear those frames in no time.
And that's not all. Beekeepers have a few other tricks up their sleeves. Sometimes a good, firm shake is all it takes. Other times, they might use automated mechanical brushes. And there's this really ingenious device called a bee escape. It's basically a one-way door that lets bees out of the honey super but doesn't let them back in. Pretty clever, right?
All right, the bees are safely out of the picture. The frames are now brought indoors for a very delicate and frankly very satisfying task, getting to that liquid gold that's sealed inside the comb.
See, once the bees have filled a cell with honey and it's just perfect, they seal it off with a fresh, clean little cap made of beeswax. This cap protects the honey and keeps it just right. So, to get the honey out, we gotta slice those caps off first.
And just like with getting the bees off, the method for this really depends on the scale. A hobbyist might just use a simple uncapping knife or a special fork to scrape the wax off by hand. But in the big commercial places, they've got heated knives, either electric or steam-powered, that just melt right through the wax. Or they might even have huge, fully automated machines that can uncap hundreds of frames an hour.
But no matter what tool they're using, the goal is always the same: be as neat as possible. And why is that so important? Well, that wax comb is precious. If it gets damaged, the bees have to use a ton of energy and time to rebuild it. A nice clean cut means the frame can go right back into the hive for the bees to refill.
Okay, this is where it gets really fun. The frames are uncapped, and you can just see that beautiful honey glistening in all those little cells. Now for the main event, getting it all out.
But think about it for a second. How do you get super sticky honey out of thousands of tiny, fragile wax cells without just crushing the whole thing and making a huge mess? You can't just squeeze it. The solution is actually really elegant, and it's all about physics.
This is where the honey extractor comes in. In Arabic, it's called al-faradaz. It's a brilliant machine. It's basically a big drum with a basket inside that spins around. You pop the frames in, spin it really fast, and good old centrifugal force does all the work, literally flinging the honey right out of the comb.
So the whole process is pretty simple. You load in the uncapped frames, you start spinning it, and whoosh, the honey flies out, splatters against the inside walls of the drum, and then slowly drips down to the bottom. Once you've got a good amount collected, you just open a little top, and out flows the fresh, raw honey.
Now, these machines come in all shapes and sizes. A hobbyist might have a small, hand-cranked one that holds maybe 4 frames. But the big commercial producers, they've got massive, electric-powered extractors that can handle 16 frames or even more all at once.
So we have our honey. It's out of the comb, but hold on. It's not quite ready for your morning tea just yet. The last stage is all about cleaning it up and getting it into those jars.
First things first, the honey gets filtered. This catches any little bits of wax or other stuff from the hive that might have gotten mixed in. Then it gets pumped into a big container called a maturation tank. It just sits here for a while, and this settling period is super important. It lets all the tiny air bubbles and any superfine particles float to the top. What you're left with at the bottom is perfectly clear, pure honey, which is then drained out and bottled up.
And there you have it. It's been on an incredible journey, from thousands of flowers to the hard work of countless bees, through the careful hands of a beekeeper and some pretty cool machines. And now, finally, the honey is ready to be sold and enjoyed.
It's really a remarkable collaboration between nature and human ingenuity, isn't it? So the next time you drizzle a little honey onto your yogurt or into your tea, maybe you'll have a whole new appreciation for the incredible process it took to get there.